Yeah, come and take a look at the snow. Bright white as far as your eyesight goes. Come and take a look at the fields of snow. I'll just get my coat, then we're good to go. Come and take a look at the lake. Let's have a quick skate before it gets late. Come and take a look at the frozen lake. Put your clothes on, mate, don't make that mistake.
Greetings, holiday shoppers. There are now 300 days until Christmas. You know what that means. It's time for Christmas Creeps, your one-stop shop for holiday movies, TV shows, and the like, all year round. My name is Joseph Wade. I'll be your host once again this evening. Here with me tonight, as always, my faithful companion, my good old buddy, Mr. Bradford. Bradford, what's shaking?
I was sitting in the office on a hot day in March, trying to get to the bottom of a case and the bottom of a bottle of rye, when in steps this gent, dressed to the nines. He says he has a vendetta against Christmas and wants me to join a radio broadcast. Say, what do I look like? A podcaster? He turns to me, he says, yeah, you do. It says it on the sign on the door. And I says, yeah, you're right. Hi.
He sucks me in the jaw and I fall down the stairs. Hey.
Like a sack of bricks.
Drops me like a sack of potatoes. Oh, man. Yeah. We're here to, once again, folks, back again, Christmas Creeps. We're cursing this lousy March weather. It's 80 degrees here in the South, and it's still winter, and I don't know. It's
ridiculous.
I don't know what's happening. Like 3 states away, it's snowing like crazy, and it kills me.
It is wild. Yeah, I've got that going on. It was almost 80 today, and it's supposed to snow 2 days from now.
Oh yeah.
So you're welcome.
What
global climate change?
Yeah, what's up, climate change? How you been?
I will say, got the couch uncovered, about silver lining, I suppose, but
well,
still.
There you go.
Well, I mean,
I said it on Twitter this afternoon. We had a huge rainstorm come up out of the blue, out of nowhere, and I just said, "Man, it's nice to just jump straight from winter, skip spring entirely, and just go straight into tornado season."
more true than you know, probably.
Absolutely. So hey everybody, this is Christmas Creeps. If you don't know what we do, we talk about Christmas movies all year round because we're crazy people, and that's okay. And sometimes we have to come up with weird gimmicks for ourselves to keep things entertaining. And I am excited this week to launch our latest gimmick.
If you couldn't tell by our awful intros.
Yeah, I mean, why telegraph it, right? But no, because March is right around the corner, basketball season's right around the corner, and there's a whole swath of Christmas films that we've never touched, and we thought now would be a perfect time to kick off. We're still trying to bandy about the right name for it, but we're going to kick off a thing that we're going to call NOIR-CH Madness.
Basketball movies? No, that would be too predictable. No, we're doing film noir this month.
Oh, yes. I mean, most people do film noir in November. That's why they call it Noir-vember, and it lends itself to that name pretty well. But you know what? We've never been one for doing the obvious thing here in Christmas Creeps. So, therefore, NOIR-CH Madness. And we were going to call it Film NOIR-CH, but then, I mean, come on. The basketball tie-in is right there. What is wrong with us?
I think the easier question is, what is right with us?
NOIR-CH Madness is what's right with us.
Check?
Well, I'm currently downing half a pack of nails right now.
What? Wait, really?
No, I am not smoking on this podcast. I'm trying to do the film noir thing, man.
Oh, as a nail? That's a term for a cigarette?
I guess. I don't know.
I was envisioning you had like a mason jar full of nails and you were like pretending to drink them over there. I don't know.
Oh no.
I don't know these things. Now I know that a cigarette is a nail.
That may not be correct, and I may have just pulled that out of thin air, but there it is, and I'm going to stick with it. No, I'm drinking a frosty glass of water right now because it is so hot right now in this house. Mr. Bradford, what do you have?
So I don't have a can, I have a bottle. And also, zigging where we should have zagged, perhaps at Christmas Creeps first, I am not drinking a beer.
Ooh.
I have North American Sake Brewery, Quiet Giant, extra dry craft sake.
Ooh, nice.
I thought it would be a little bit, I don't know if classy is the right word, because this wasn't a very classy film. I'm just kind of nursing this a little bit, sipping on it. It just feels right. I had it in the fridge for a while. Feels like the right time.
How big is that bottle? Like what size are we working with here?
It's like about the size of like a beer bottle.
Oh, okay.
But, obviously sake is much stronger than beer, so I'm going to have to nurse this bad boy.
Yeah, so be careful with that.
Oh, no, I'm going very slow and also drinking water, so don't worry about me.
There you go. And I guess we should also say, the fuck is that guy's name?
Mike Hammer?
Oh, no.
Like, I don't know what guy you're talking about, but
I guess
there are a lot of guys out there in the world.
Well, now you're gonna hate me when I say which guy it is I'm thinking of.
3 billion of them or more.
I guess we should say at the top of the show also that Jonathan 5, the human robot, could not be with us tonight, and he'll be back in action next week, I'm sure. So
he's in the shop for maintenance right now.
That's right. But also, because this is such a special occasion thing that we're doing, I would love to put this out there right now. We would like to get some guests to come in and talk some film noir with us, and I know we've got some ringers.
Guys. Is this the guys that you're trying to talk about? Is people that you're going to ask to come on this show, and you're saying, "What's this guy?"
No, Brad. When I said the fuck is that guy's name, I was actually talking about Jonathan.
Oh, okay, all right.
I blanked on what we call him on this show.
Got it. Because we're gonna break kayfabe here for a moment. Johnny 5, the human robot, is not his Christian name. Yeah. Surprise.
Yeah, you couldn't have guessed, right?
Right.
But no, J-Man will be back in short order, and we wish him the best. But until then, like I said, I would like to get a couple of guests lined up for this, because who doesn't love a good film noir detective story? Hard-boiled detective, chain-smoking private eye, saving the dames and solving the murders. This is the kind of thing we're working with tonight.
Solving the dames, saving the murders.
Yeah, sometimes. You gotta.
I guess that's true.
You gotta switch it up sometimes. So the inaugural NOIR-CH Madness. I guess this is like, if we're really calling this like a tournament, this is like the play-in game because it's still February. But this is 1953's I, the Jury. It's notable in that it is the debut novel from Mickey Spillane of the Mike Hammer character, who went on to be quite the prolific private eye, hard-boiled detective character in the 50s and 60s. Lots of novels written about this character. Handful of movies made about him. This is the very first one. Like the first novel produced, first film produced.
You're going to have to forgive me because I know nothing about hard-boiled noir adventures. Is he the James Bond or the Hercule Poirot of noir lore, I guess you would say? The greater noir canon?
I wouldn't say he's the biggest. I would say he's maybe the trashiest.
Oh, for sure. Just based on this film alone.
1,000,000% for sure. And also, I'm moderately educated in this, so I'll try to stumble my way through it. This is why we need guests on the show, people. But no, Mike Hammer's been portrayed in several films, several TV series. Darren McGavin, the dad from Christmas Story, played him in a TV series. So yeah, and this film in particular, I, the Jury, was remade in the 80s with what's the guy's name, Armand Assante. And looking at the IMDb pages here, or rather the Wikipedia pages, I noticed that both films made the exact same amount at the box office 30 years apart.
Well, if you adjust for inflation, that doesn't shine too well on the 80s version, but hey.
Not one bit, no.
Oh, well.
But no, I think in terms of like the detective story, like American, like modern detective stories, you're looking at Dashiell Hammett's one of the big ones with, you know, the Maltese Falcon and the Thin Man and stories like that. Those are pretty big stories, and those have been adapted into film many times. But then you get Mike Hammer, those stories by Mickey Spillane. Those are kind of like, it's kind of like the airport novel version of those stories.
Right.
You really do just pick them up for a dime and you read them once and you throw them away, kind of.
Gotcha.
But also, that's also, you know, the quality of the writing you're getting too, because as shown in this film, Mike Hammer is a man of many words, and many of them repeat. I don't.
Yes.
There's got to be a better way to put that.
I think I said it best in the group chat when we were watching this film. I said, Joey Tribbiani, Private Eye.
That's pretty. Yeah, it's like, how you doing? Punches in the face.
How you doing? Yeah, he's a man who likes his beer cold, his guns hot, and his fists in somebody's face.
Exactly.
A little bit of a mess.
This is a little bit of a mess, but also it follows a very particular structure, and that structure is Mike Hammer is on the case of who murdered his best friend Jack. And the victim is Jack, his old war buddy, and he's murdered, right before Christmas. Hey, it's a Christmas movie, everybody. We're not doing this for no reason.
Yes. Yeah.
It's Christmas time. Jack is murdered. Mike Hammer is on the case. He's the private eye. He's working with the police, but the police, they don't want him around, really.
Yeah, it's a frenemies sort of thing, a little bit.
And he makes it clear right up front, like, he is not in this to catch the killer. He's going to kill the killer.
He's going to straight up murder them.
He tells this to the police, and they don't arrest him. But the structure, such as it is, he goes from scene to scene. He interviews a new suspect. He gets a little bit of information out of him. He goes to the next scene, interviews the next suspect, somehow comes across a dead body, and the wash, rinse, repeat. This happens quite a lot.
Is this so? Again, you're gonna have to forgive me because I've not seen any other film noir de film. I don't know. I haven't seen any other films in this genre before. Is this a typical structure?
Sort of. The ones that I'm familiar with, you do get a lot of the
beating the pavement,
interviewing new characters. That's how the film introduces these characters. Is our detective kind of has to go find these people and interviews them, and he gets a new name dropped into his little notepad, and he's, well, I got to go find this guy. And so it's a pretty simple structure, but I think where a lot of the best detective stories kind of wring their best moments out of it is when they twist that and play with it in different ways. Like, that's why I like the Shane Black detective movies so much, because he's clearly watched a lot of these movies and read a lot of these stories, and he knows exactly how to pervert them in ways that are fun and interesting. Gotcha. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is very much kind of a parody of Mike Hammer stories.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, see also that episode of our podcast if you want to learn more. But
also a Christmas movie.
Because Shane Black loves him some Christmas. But Mike Hammer makes his way through New York City, which it's notable to me that it's New York City because, first of all, New York at Christmas time, what could be better? Iconic. Right. But also there is a very key location at the end of the film that is, among film literate viewers, it's very much not in New York. It's in Los Angeles.
And what would this be?
It'd be the fight scene near the end that takes place on that giant staircase.
Ah, yeah. What is that? What building is that?
The name of that.
The big thing that struck me about this scene is not because I'm not film literate. I didn't know this was a place in LA. They have this big, beautiful, grand, ornate staircase that they're having this fight on. And then during the middle of the fight, they do this one shot that's it's a full view of the staircase, and we see that this staircase is like 4 or 5 stories up. Oh, I thought for sure they were going to give us a railing kill.
Yeah, right?
I was a little disappointed, honestly. They did twist it that way, because no railing kill.
No railing kill, no. But this is the iconic Bradbury building in downtown Los Angeles. If you've ever seen the movie Blade Runner, this is like a central location in that film. And it's people love it because of that strange architecture and that giant staircase. But I guess in 1953, it wasn't like obvious to a lot of people. A lot of people hadn't seen that yet or before, so you can get away with stuff like that.
What would you say is the most iconic movie building that you've visited? Most iconic building from cinema. Let's say a building famous because it is in cinema, not like the Eiffel Tower.
Okay, wait. That I've visited?
Yes, that you've seen in real life.
That I've been to in real life.
Yes.
Oh, man. I've been to the mall from Back to the Future.
Oh, wow.
And unless you like have studied the scene and know where to look, doesn't really look like it anymore.
I think they changed like all the facades on it at some point, probably.
Like the JCPenney was still there.
Okay.
But like supposedly, this is, information that's like 10 years old at this point, but supposedly you could go there and still see like the black like electrical tape where they would mark off, their stage directions and stuff on the parking lot.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Do they have like a plaque or anything up there, or not really?
No, not really, or at least not that I noticed. But if you stand at the right angle, you can kind of look across the parking lot and see like, oh yeah, that's where the DeLorean drove by, and yeah.
You know what would be a real baller move?
What's
is
that?
If they put a DeLorean statue in one of the parking spaces, like a statue of the time car. But that would probably be like a hazard because people would probably hit it with, I don't know. It'd be kind of weird to have a statue at grade in a parking lot.
Just park it in the middle of the lot so that people can't drive catty corner through the lot.
Yes.
I love it. That is very much something I would do.
The Twin Pines. Yeah. How many people have tried to like drift in that parking lot in the same place where the time car drifted?
Probably tons. Yeah. I'm trying to think of other places that I've been to that like would be more famous than that. That might be the one. Yeah.
Nice.
I've been to, the Chinese theater in Hollywood. That's a big tourist trap, but that doesn't really count.
Right. That doesn't really count because it's not a build. I'm saying buildings made famous by the fact that they appeared in a movie.
Right. That might be it. Yeah. The Back to the Future Mall.
Nice.
Yeah.
I saw the Ghostbusters fire station.
Ooh.
In New York.
Cool. Now
it's very,
Sorry.
Blink and you'll miss it.
Yeah.
Sadly, it was under renovation
Oh.
when I saw it, so it was like half covered up with scaffolding, but still very cool to see.
Supposedly, that's still like a real working firehouse too.
I believe it is. Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Oh man. So, yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised with both of our answers.
Pretty solid answers, right?
Yeah. Well, and it's especially interesting with this kind of movie because, like, you always hear that, New York City is a character unto itself in a lot of movies like this. But in this one, it's really not a concern, is it?
They don't really play it up all that much.
And truth be told, it's mostly because this is a very obviously cheap production.
Yeah.
They really did just kind of hammer this one out on a low budget.
Hammer it out.
You see what I did there?
I saw what you did there.
But yeah, they kind of knocked this one out real quick. It's a low budget production, and you could tell. I mean, the version that we watched, it's really not available much anywhere online unless you go to archive.org. God bless the good people at archive.org.
Right?
Doing the Lord's work. But I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about the plot of I, the Jury, because like we said, Hammer goes from place to place, interviews people, and finds dead bodies.
It's very he's working off of a list the police provide him. There was a party before the murder.
Right.
And these are all the people that went to the party with Jake. And there's a through line through all of this. There's Koleski, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. And he's like this, he's this art dealer, but he's also like turns out to be a jewel thief. Mm-hmm. Spoiler alert. I think he's a bookie at some point as well.
Yeah, there's like
they're like three different characters that were bookies before in this movie, like former bookies in this movie. It's kind of wild.
And there's like 2 or 3 different plots going on at the same time too. It's a little hard to keep up with.
Yeah, so there's a couple of different through lines going on, and I feel like the movie itself kind of loses the plot for a bit there, or at least I lost interest in the plot, I suppose you could say.
That's true and totally fair.
I think they were I'm probably giving the movie too much credit, going for like a red herring sort of thing, but it doesn't really pull it off.
Well, it doesn't pull it off because it introduces too many red herrings.
There are a lot of characters which are completely ancillary to the plot.
There are more red herrings in this film than a fish market.
Like the twins and the veterinarian.
The drunken mall Santa Claus.
He gets murdered, but it's not really like that relevant to the plot.
Yeah.
Except for to have a body later to point to and say, somebody capped them, but it wasn't the person who killed Jack. Exactly.
But also, like, half of the characters are murdered, but also they were involved in the murders of other characters earlier in the film, too. It kind of starts stacking on top of itself and becomes a little unwieldy.
Yes, it does.
And then I guess the main character, the femme fatale, I guess, is Charlotte Manning, who is Mike's kind of love interest in the film. And spoiler alert, may or may not be suspect number 1.
Well, you already said she was the well, okay, fine. Yes, spoiler alert. I don't know that I would recommend people watch this movie, so we're just going to spoil it.
I mean, we kind of just did, so it's okay.
Yeah. She's a psychiatrist, psychologist,
mm-hmm.
psychoanalyst.
Right.
And yeah, she's the big bad. Spoiler alert.
Which you find out literally in the last 2 minutes of the film.
They do foreshadow it, but in a really dumb way.
Right.
With you know what I'm talking about? The bees.
The bees. Remind me.
So Bobo, his friend Bobo, the former bookie, the mall Santa.
The mall Santa,
has an interest in bees, and he buys a queen bee and brings it to Mike, and he's like, "It's a queen bee," and he's like, "Oh, where's the king?" And he's like, "Oh, don't you know? You don't need a queen doesn't need a king." And he's like, "Wow, times are changing."
Ooh.
Like that sort of.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Okay, maybe it's not as dumb as I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know why that stood out to me, but it did, and it was a little piece of foreshadowing, just a little treat there.
Well, that's nice, it's film is so rudimentary and bog standard that any time that it introduces something that's moderately clever, you do kind of notice it. So I get that. But then you've got the mistaken identities and the false identities, because you got this guy named Hanson, who is one of Kalecki's stooges, and he's pretending to be a college student, and he's planted himself in a dormitory so that he can run a numbers game, a racket among the college students. It's very intricate for basically no reason.
Yup, it sure is.
Yeah. And the way the plotting is kind of set and is very similar to the way that Mike Hammer has played, because Hammer is played by an actor named Biff Elliott, which is the most 50s name I've ever heard. And he really does just stomp his way through the dialogue and the movie and the characters, and man, oh man.
I honestly, I know it was probably not intentional, but a lot of times on his delivery, I just couldn't help but laugh.
Right, because it's
but just he's just every word that's out of his mouth is like he's like throwing it out. He's like throwing up on the lines. It's ridiculous.
There was a line that he says to like a bellboy. He's trying to bribe a bellboy so that the bellboy doesn't talk, and he's like, "Act like a clam, or I'll open you up like one."
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that was. I remember that line.
Oh, good Lord.
I do. One of the times that I laughed out loud is when he meets the main love interest for the first time, and she's like offering him a drink, and she shows him a beer, and he goes, "Beer!" It's like just like an excited 5-year-old. It's so good.
Oh yeah.
Golly gee whiz. Thanks, lady.
God. One thing that I will say that I did like is the way that they keep maintaining this as a Christmas film is that every new scene is established with a Christmas card of the place that we're at.
It's nice. It's a nice touch.
It's a nice touch, and I think the longer it goes and the more they do it, I looked forward to it more. Like every time the scene changed, I was like, okay, I can't wait to see what this Christmas card looks like.
What was the Christmas card for the quote unquote dance studio? Because we have to talk about the air quotes dance studio.
Oh,
which
yeah.
I don't think they ever tacitly call anything other than a dance studio. It's all just implied, which I guess was probably like what is the movie code back then?
Oh, the Hays Code, yeah.
The Hays, that's probably some Hays Code stuff, right?
Right, yeah. So like we get Christmas cards of like Woodbell Village, and there's a picture of a church, and we see like the scene of Mike going to visit the father of one of the suspects. And then there's Parkdale College, which is where Hines is posted up as a racketeer. And then there's the Empire State Building at Christmas time, and let's see. Oh, okay. I got it, but it's just Merry Christmas from Central Park West.
There you go.
There it is. Which once again is a pretty famous, I guess, locale in New York City. I mean, I think that's where Ghostbusters takes place. So there you go.
There you go.
But yeah, we don't get more specific than that. But I don't know. It's nice. It's a nice detail, and it keeps the mood without forcing them to do things like cover scenes in snowfall or decorate a scene for Christmas time or anything. The guy dressed as Santa, that's about as much as you're gonna get
in the actual production.
In the production of the film, yeah. Well, there is a scene where Mike like breaks into an apartment, and you see like him stumble over a Christmas tree a little bit.
That's right.
That's about it. That's about it.
And people are handing each other gifts here and there, and there's like a sign for a Christmas party in the dance studio and stuff like that. There's little touches.
Yeah, it's nice. It's not bad. But yeah, it's a pretty cut and dry kind of film. There's not a whole lot worth pointing out or going over, unless we just want to go through the plot beat by beat. But
I don't think we need to belabor that.
It's extremely basic, is what we're saying.
Yes, I feel like, speaking of extra characters, the twins were absolutely just like a celebrity cameo thing, right? Like those sisters, I saw that they were on like the cover of Time or something.
Oh yeah,
I guess they were like a hot item for a while, and they were just like, okay, we got the Hayes sisters or whatever.
They play the Bellamy sisters in the movie.
Yes, Bellamy sisters.
Yeah, they are actual twins. But they are, it looks like they're more known as singers than anything else.
Gotcha.
So that would explain that. We're just dragging ourselves along the bottom here, just trying to find something to talk about, because I think when we landed on this one, it just seemed trashy and fun and the kind of thing that we would enjoy just raking over the coals. And it is. It's fine. It's not terrible or anything, but it's also one of those films where it's just so basic, there's really not a whole lot to talk about.
Yeah, and to flip the script also from recent Christmas Creep episodes, didn't enjoy this one as much as I expected to be completely honest.
I was ready for a good trashy detective story. And I think my modest expectations were not quite met.
It was a bit of a slog there towards the end. And I was just like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Please tell me who done it.
Especially as you know, the plot beats kept repeating themselves. We're like, okay, we get it. There's a new person. There's a new dead body. We get it.
Somebody tries to seduce Mike. We get it. Somebody takes somebody hostage. We get it. Okay.
Oh, Brad, there's one last thing I forgot to mention that we need to address.
What's that?
So let me read you sort of the tagline on the poster for this movie, okay?
Okay.
Now, Mickey Spillane, his first motion picture, blasts you out of your seat in all thrill 3D. This was a movie shot in 3D.
That, I think, would explain the big staircase shot.
Probably so, yeah. That might have looked really cool in 3D.
You know how when 3D was, again, a thing in, like, the aughts? They did, like, 3D money. There was, like, very obvious, like, 3D money shots.
Oh, yeah, like Final Destination would have, like, stuff flying at you and shit.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of any of those in this. This would have been the old school 3D with the red and blue.
Yeah, you would have had those red and blue
lenses,
glasses,
right?
And stuff. That would have been. God, you're right. I'm trying to think of like what on earth would there have even been. And I mean, some of like the depth of field stuff with like the very shadowy scenes with like the classic noir like blind light, you know, like light coming through the blinds. Yeah.
That could look like nice, but I'm trying to think of like any sort of real justification for this to be in 3D. Yeah, there is the scene where he's with one of the Bellamy twins and she hands him like a Viewmaster. And he's looking at photo. That has to be what it was. That's kind of like the money shot one.
That's got to be it. You're right.
Because there are like 3 or 4 different photos of them. There's like a swimsuit cheesecake photo. One of them holding a gun at the screen.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good call. Good call.
That's shoehorned in though, still.
But beyond that, I don't think there's much of anything.
I feel like that was added probably later in the production just to justify it's a 3D. Yeah. Look at 3D movie. Look at this.
Added special effects. Like, no, come on. But yeah, like the rest of the movie is fairly flat looking, and it's honestly it kind of just looks like television, like 50s television. So fairly unremarkable. Whatever. But I think we've talked it out enough. Do you want to jump over to the crankometer?
Sure.
Okay. Well, folks, our crankometer, for those just joining us, is our patented XY axis for rating Christmas movies. The X-axis is how Christmassy a film is, and the Y-axis is how good a film is. So, Bradford, X-axis, how Christmassy is I, the jury?
So you have those postcards. That's a nice touch. You got some Christmas music going on, people wishing each other Merry Christmas. It's not the most Christmassy, and it doesn't have to take place at Christmas because there's no real reason for it to.
Agreed.
But like you got New York at Christmas, but it's ironic because it feels like Christmas, but it doesn't feel like New York. So it's not really pulling off the New York at Christmas thing.
True.
Maybe a 1?
Yeah, like it's there and it doesn't really misuse it, but it doesn't use it. The Christmas cards are a really nice touch, though. I do love that. And our friend Bobo, the drunken mall Santa, that's a fun little bit.
If we can lean back on previous crankometers,
sure.
What did we give Night of the Comet?
Night of the Comet. Let's see.
I would say this is about equivalent to Night of the Comet as far as Christmasity goes.
That's not a bad call. Let's see. Night of the Comet, we gave that one a 0.
Okay. Yeah, I feel... Yeah, maybe a 0, maybe a 1 is how I would feel, but please try to convince me otherwise.
I mean, I would say give it a 1, give it a leg up over Night of the Comet just for those Christmas cards.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Because, I mean, not only is it, they're doing it for the whole Christmas thing, but they're also using those Christmas cards like for a purpose. They're establishing shots for the next scene in the film, which I think is great.
It's a clever idea.
Yeah, it's a good idea. So I'm going to give this a 1.
Agreed.
Okay.
I think a 1 is fair.
Okay. And now the y-axis. This is going to be a little tough. How good is I the Jury? It's not very.
Not very.
And I'm almost wanting to say maybe putting this one in negative numbers.
I am in agreement with you. I was thinking the same. I was just thinking the same thing.
Because one of the critiques we got from our last year of podcasting is that we pretty much liked everything that we watched. And this time around, well,
this doesn't deserve it. I don't think this does. We're not doing this just because we liked everything we watched before. This is a genuinely
absolutely
not particularly enjoyable movie.
No, it's
I wanted it to be over, which is usually a sign that a movie is not particularly. I don't find a movie particularly good.
It's trashy, low budget nonsense. That's kind of what it was made to be, but that doesn't give it a pass, you know?
Well, it doesn't even pull that off particularly well, I would argue.
No, but also I realize that we're judging this, in 2023 and not in 1953. So I guess all I'm saying there is it has aged poorly, even by the standards of the time.
Yeah, I mean, there's some really great movies from around the same time, one could argue.
Yeah.
-2 is how I feel about this.
-2.
Just throwing it out there.
Because, I didn't hate it, but there's very little in this that I would recommend and say that this is good. So
I would never watch this again. Even
I think I'm gonna give it to you with this one. A -2 is fine because again,
what's there is not reprehensible, I guess, in a way.
That's true,
but it's not particularly. It's not as fun as you want it to be.
Right, it is not particularly entertaining unless you're just the kind of detective fiction hound that loves this kind of stuff. You might actually get some enjoyment out of this as sort of the novelty of it. But
I suppose
I
feel like connoisseurs would find it rote if we non-connoisseurs found it rote. But
exactly, us Christmas experts are not impressed by this.
Correct.
Oh boy. See, we're gonna get an angry letter from somebody who every movie is somebody's favorite movie. I realize that. One of our listeners probably loves this, and they're gonna hate us for it, and that's okay.
Well, they can take it up.
They can take it up with the big man.
Yes.
So positive.
By take it up with the big man, I mean email Johnny5 about it.
Yeah, that's right. Hit us up on our Discord and yell at J-Man about it. Yeah, so a +1 and -2. That's a good place to land, I think.
Yeah.
It's if you have to go watch it, like we said, it's on archive.org. We'll put the link in our show notes.
I think you'd be better served doing just about anything else, though.
Really, and
honestly,
but if anything, it kind of makes me want to seek out the '80s remake.
Morbidly curious.
Curious.
Also, is it a Christmas film? Is the '80s remake set at Christmas?
That is a very good question.
Because if we truly hate ourselves, the next episode can be I the Jury 1980 whatever. No, let's not do that. That sounds like a bad idea. Especially if Johnny5 is going to come back, because I don't really want to make him listen to us compare a movie he didn't watch with the movie he just watched. I don't know.
That's a good point. That's fair. A quick Google does not bring up anything related to Christmas as far as the new one, the 80s version goes. So there's that.
Okay.
All right. Well, so thank you so much for joining us on this very ramshackle beginning to our NOIR-CH Madness programming festival. Hopefully it gets better from here, but we'll have to wait and see on that. But if you want to drop us a line, you can tweet at us at Christmas Creeps. You can go to facebook.com/Christmas Creeps. We're also on Instagram. Go to YouTube and find us on there. We put all of our episodes on YouTube if you're the kind of person that gets your stuff on YouTube. And also we'll put the link in the show notes. Go to our Discord and come find us and chat with us about film noir and all things Christmas.
Or all things not Christmas. We talk about all sorts of things on there. We talk about the goblins who live in the internet. We talk about video games. We have a food channel.
We talk about Brad making way too many onions for some reason.
I made French onion soup. And it was very good. Thank you very much.
It looked wonderful.
Everybody loved it.
But as you put it, just an absolutely obscene amount of onions.
It was really inappropriate. And that was only 4 large onions.
Woof,
believe it or
doodle.
not. But when you chop them up, when you slice them thin like that, they take up a lot more space, I guess.
Right.
It was inappropriate, really. But the end result was very good.
Right. And that's what we're just here for a good time.
Yes. Speaking of a good time in video games, have you played any good games lately?
Have I played any good games lately? I'm gonna say no. No, you know what? I've been playing the hell out of some Game Boy Switch Online.
Really feasting there, huh? What you playing?
I mean, listen, old school Tetris ain't nothing to mess with. But also,
it's a classic, and also that Tetris movie looks pretty good. Not gonna lie,
it really does. The Tetris biopic, the biopic that I didn't know I always wanted. Yes, please.
The Hank Rogers biopic.
Yeah,
it looks actually legitimately good, which I am the first to say I'm very surprised.
Yeah,
when I heard that they were optioning a Tetris movie,
I saw on Twitter. I don't know if you follow the gaming historian, that guy on YouTube. But he tweeted that like somebody had reached out to him and asked him for the rights to his Tetris documentary to make it into a film. And he had to reply to them, I don't have the rights to that because it's real life.
Because that's a YouTube video I made about things that happened in real life.
But having said that, if you're in the market for a documentary about Tetris, that one's a really good one. But yeah, the Mario movie is also starting to look pretty good.
I am shocked, like, how not bad it looks, other than the casting of Chris Pratt, which is, okay, yeah, I know why you did it. But, like, everything else seems really on point and, like, true to the series, and kind of, like, there are, like, little things here and there that are, like, kind of a love letter to the series. And I mean, if you think about it,
yeah,
probably most of the people working on this production are huge nerds anyways.
This is true.
So, of course, they're going to maybe do it more justice than I thought they would, but I thought it was going to be sort of like a death by committee, Luigi comes out and he starts doing the Harlem Shake or, like Minion stuff.
Oh, yeah, like, and it's Illumination, the people that make Despicable Me. So, like, my first thought was, okay, Bowser's going to be the Gru, the Grinch character. All the Goombas are going to be his minions, and it's going to be like, I have all these gadgets, and I'm going to steal the princess.
And I mean, might still end up being like that, but everything they've shown, either they're doing a very good job of hiding it, or it's actually maybe looking very good. I think the turning point for me was the Super Bowl ad. You
mean the commercial for the plumbing company?
Yes, yeah,
that it turned out not to be a Super Bowl ad because we watched the entire thing waiting for that, and it never happened.
Oh, that's really disappointing. I wish they probably would have been very expensive, but hey.
But it's a legit ad, and they use the theme song from the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, and it's wonderful.
Right? But the other fun part is if you go to the website, there's lots of little Easter eggs. Like, there's Spike from Wrecking Crew review bombing the website.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's a deep cut. Like, I know that's not a deep cut for people that know about video games, but for, like, a mainstream movie, that feels like a deep cut,
They did their homework for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, speaking of Mario games and stuff, what have you been playing lately? I have an actual answer for this question now because I just remembered this.
Okay.
Super Mario Advance 4 on it's Game Boy Advance Online.
Yes, I found with the extra levels.
Yes, I found out about those extra levels and like the level card system and went to play those, and they're delightful.
It's very good. It's like the earliest closest thing to like a Kaizo mod.
Yeah.
But officially sanctioned. It's very cool, and it's got elements from like there's stuff from Mario 2 where you can like pull up weeds in Super Mario World. Very cool stuff, and it's available, and I feel like we're doing an advert right now. But
if Nintendo wanted to send us some money, I wouldn't be against it, but also I just love these games. I just enjoy sitting down, plugging in for 15 minutes, playing some Mario, and dipping back out.
Very nice.
Brad, what about you? What have you been playing? A long way around the barn to get to that question.
Oh my goodness. So I've been playing Pizza Tower.
What? Okay, I've heard y'all talking about that. What is this?
So basically, it's a spiritual successor, a love letter to Wario Land 4 of all things.
Wow. Okay.
Have you ever played Wario Land 4?
No, I have not, but I'm familiar with the Wario Land games.
Yeah, it'll probably show up on the subscription service before too long.
Okay.
Highly recommend it. One of the best GBA games, actually. Yeah.
Sure.
It's very good. But sort of the central conceit of those ones is you do the level, and then at the very sort of end of it, or quote-unquote end of it, you hit something, and then you have a time limit, and you have to make your way back through the level backwards and reach the entrance before the time limit is up.
Huh.
And this uses that same mechanic, but Pizza Tower is just really good. The animation style is fantastic, and the music is great, and it controls really wonderfully. Just an overall like really well made game.
I'm watching like the preview clip, and it has the look of like a Sega Genesis game.
It does. It's very busy, but in kind of the best possible way, and it's pretty funny in a lot of ways too. I've been playing that,
okay,
and then before that, I was playing another game called The Void Rains Upon Her Heart, which I've been playing a lot of.
Okay,
which is it's a bullet hell shmup, but it's also like it has a roguelike structure. So it's like run based, and you get different power ups, and you can sort of choose your path through the stages. It's a lot of fun.
So it's kind of like Enter the Gungeon, I guess.
A little bit, but it's a little less exploration based. It's like a boss rush.
Oh, okay.
So it's all bosses. But it's a lot of fun, and there's a mountain of. It's kind of like Vampire Survivors, and there's just like an absolute mountain of stuff to unlock.
Right.
So it's nice. And then sorry, one last one.
Oh,
I know I've been going on forever.
Please
but,
hit me.
Video game chat.
How often do we get to do this?
Have you played Power Wash Simulator?
No, but I've played Lawn Mowing Simulator.
Oh my goodness. Power Wash Simulator. It's indescribable how wrong it is that I'm enjoying this, but like how right it feels. It's busy work the game.
Yeah.
But it like put on a podcast, and it's like, oh, it's 3 hours later. Oh no. I should be doing chores in real life instead of but it's like you scrub things off, and there's like a little progress bar for every piece of something that you're scrubbing off, and it makes like a little ding when you're done. Oh, it's absolutely like just brain chemistry stuff.
Yeah.
But, it's wonderful.
I've seen it. I want to play it, and all I can say is that when I showed the game to Nikki, the first thing she said was, "I swear to God, if you play this game before you power wash our own driveway, I'm going to kill you."
I know. I say I've been playing it with like, I am guilty of this as well, because I don't own a power washer, but we have access. We can borrow one from somebody, and our front steps are disgusting.
Right.
But I'll get there. Maybe this spring.
Oh yeah, spring has sprung, and now's the time.
I do enjoy power washing in real life, so not totally guilty. It's not a Guitar Hero situation where it's like, no, I could just be learning to play an actual guitar instead of mastering hitting colorful buttons on a little plastic baby guitar.
Yeah.
But that's what I've been playing. I've been enjoying those quite a bit.
Awesome.
And I'm rambling, but
no, that is A-okay.
I guess this is a very roundabout way of saying we know you have a lot of ways to spend your time, and we thank you so much for listening to all of this, especially when we talk about video games you probably aren't interested in or have no intention of playing. So, or movies that you probably shouldn't watch.
But also, if you listen to this show knowing that at some point we're going to talk about video games, you're welcome.
You are welcome. And you know what? If you want us to talk about video games, let us know. Maybe we'll record a one-off every once in a while or something.
And one last time, join our Discord and come talk about video games with us.
Yes.
Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Christmas Creeps. We actually managed to go for almost an entire hour, which is impressive.
Granted, 10 minutes of that was video game chat. But
so for Christmas Creeps, I am Joseph Wade.
I'm Bradford.
Have a wonderful evening.
You filthy animal.
Happy Christmas. Happy Christmas.